Greetings, everyone. My name is Connor Mitchum, and I'm here to tell you about Luncheon of the Boating Party, an oil-on-canvas painting completed by Pierre-Auguste Renoir in 1888. When you first look at the painting, your first thought isn't that, oh, this painting tells a story. No, what you first see is a group of acquaintances, friends even, just enjoying themselves in a nice little restaurant by the river. But there are several things that you start noticing when you start looking at the details of the painting. Take, for instance, what were they doing while while enjoying the party? Hmm? What were they doing? Um, that question can be answered simply by looking at the focal point of the painting, what our eyes are supposed to be drawn to, the attention, the point of attention of the painting, which in this case is centered on the front table and is a large selection of wine, as seen through these crudely drawn circles. Now, if you take a look at the table, you'll notice that several of the glasses have been drunk out of. Uh, several of them having very trace amounts of the beverage still in there. And you can see a woman in the back who is also drinking from a glass. And then you go to the upper right hand corner, and there are these two men who have cornered a lady who is holding her hands to the sides of her head out of embarrassment or shame. And if you look at her waist, you can see that one of them has his arms around her. And it is a thing that happens when somebody's exposed to alcohol. Inhibitions are gone, which should be a lesson to all to refrain from drinking more than you can take when at a party like this. But there is another interesting detail that the wine gives us, and that being the inner machinations of everybody's thoughts, which I will now show you through crudely drawn lines this time. As you can see, everybody has a different person that they are looking at or wanting them to look at them. It's very interesting. Take the man in the straw hat at the left-hand side, for instance. Now he's looking at this man in the brown coat in the back, who is looking at this man in a black hat and black coat, who's indeed looking at him because they're having a conversation. If you go to the right-hand corner, you'll notice that two men are both staring at the lady. She is trying to avert her eyes out of embarrassment, as anyone would probably do in this situation. Now, if we will take our eyes to the lady resting on the railing, leaning over on the railing, if we look at her, she is being looked upon by this man in this brown hat, who is being looked at by the lady who I previously shown you was drinking from a glass. And she, of course, is being looked at by a man who's sitting next to her, who is obscured by the man in the white coat, who is the person that the woman leaning on the railing has been looking at this whole time in a jealous manner, almost as if she wants his attention and is jealous that he is looking at someone else. And who is that someone else? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's that woman in the blue dress to the right hand side of the first table. And she is looking at the man sitting next to her in his chair backwards, which seems to have been the style at the time. That was a joke. He is looking at the woman to the left who has her dog up on a table with her. And she is staring intently at her dog. Now, when you take all of this together, it paints a very clear picture of what everybody is thinking, what everybody's doing. And I think that's a very interesting thing that should be seen in more paintings, especially nowadays. But alas, it is how it is. Anyway, Renoir isn't considered among the many talents before him, but he should be, as a great impressionist, which he was. Uh, this has been Connor Mitchell. Thank you for watching.